What's up, guys? I'm BTC. Welcome back to Overwatch Agents, where we review match replays to catch the cheaters and throwers who try to ruin the game. If you have a replay to share where you think someone was cheating or throwing, you can send it to me along with the info on the screen. Let's get started. In this match, we're going to be looking at a cheater on the red team. It is the Widow, who will later switch to a Sombra and a Bastion. Starts out using just a trigger bot and a wall hack, but will later turn on a fully auto-lock system, and we'll see that in just a second. But I want to show you some of the early stuff just so you can kind of take a look at it. About to get hooked by the Roadhog right here, and manages to escape. And that's important because the player knows that the Roadhog is there. So now once the player comes up here, what's going to happen is, looking at this area, that's where the Roadhog was. And then now zoomed in, tracking the Roadhog through the wall, and was able to back out before the player ever actually appeared. Wasn't trying to look at the doorway, was looking at the Roadhog himself through the wall. And again, not looking on one of the sides, instead looking at the Roadhog. It's going to be a little more obvious in just a second, where we see it, the same thing is going to happen with a Brig. That's the trigger bot right there. And with the Brigitte, so first attempt on the Brigitte, and let's slow this down a little bit more. You're going to see that rather than looking at this area here, where the character could potentially be, or looking over here, where another character could potentially be, the Widow is looking at the Brig through the wall, which makes no sense, and then gets taken out by the enemy Widow. Now, this becomes way, way more obvious later on. We're going to look at another point, which is at 8:43. And then this is just incredibly obvious. Like, there's no hiding this. Full lock and just complete auto-aim on that. So there's no hiding that whatsoever. Here's another example. This is where the player starts to get frustrated. You can see very obviously turning on that tracking. And then there's another one that I can show you with Bastion and the aimbot, which is basically the pinnacle of a frustrated cheater. We're just going to turn this on. You're going to see that it is so incredibly obvious that the player has thrown away all pretense of, you know, trying to hide it, and now is very, very obviously watching enemies through the wall, snapping, and using aimbot. It's funny, even the ultimate uses the aimbot, which kind of makes it get stuck in the kinetic grasp. So there you go. This player very obviously cheating. In this match, we have an entire team that is throwing and deranking. Every single player on the red team is throwing. It's probably a 6-man stack that was created through the Looking for Group system. You know, you see it all the time where throwing down to bronze or throwing, deranking, this sort of stuff, it happens all the time. We're going to start out watching the Echo, and this player is going to just head over to this side and just throw some emotes up, not actually do anything, and just feed. So now we're going to switch over to some of the other characters, and you're going to see here that they all pretty much just hang out in this one spot. But it does look like several characters are moving at the same time, so it's entirely possible that there's not 6 people on this team, that it's only 2 or 3 that are controlling all the different characters. But there is absolutely no question that this 6 stack is deranking. So you can see, like, the Ana isn't doing anything, and then the Winston comes out, and then the Diva, and the Bastion isn't moving. So it looks like there's probably 2, maybe 3 people that are controlling these accounts. But they are all definitely deranking, no question about that. In this match, we're going to be looking at the McCree on the red team, who will later switch to Ashe, and then to Mei. This player throws a tantrum and decides to start throwing the match and griefing the team. My guess is probably frustration out of how bad this player's aim is. I mean, look at that. Look at that. I'd be frustrated too. All right, let's check out what this player actually was doing later on. Starting at about the 8-minute and 20-second mark, this player then decides to throw and going to grief the rest of the team. You can see just AFK, not participating at all. And then going to jump off the map in just a second here. And let's speed this up just a little bit. Gonna switch over to Mei. First time blocking the team. And then let's skip ahead a little bit. We're going to see that, again, deliberately blocking off the healer. Not participating, not trying to attack, not helping in any way. And again, just being a nuisance with the ice walls. So what he's doing right now is trying to separate the team. And we can skip forward. And again, the player just doesn't do anything to help. Obviously, again, using the wall to block off the team. So, very obviously, throwing, griefing needs to be banned. In this match, we're going to be looking at a very obvious cheater in No Limits Arcade, which is even worse than cheating in Quick Play. This player didn't join until about halfway through because the player got backfilled in. And we're going to be looking at the Bastion on the blue team. So let's get this started. And we're just going to skip forward a little bit here. And you're going to see that it is very, very obviously locking on to the enemies. So let's get into a position where... Okay. Slow it down. You can see it's snapping and then locking on. Extremely obvious. It's going to lock onto this Roadhog there. I don't know why he switched back like that. But you can see that it snaps and locks. It's incredibly, incredibly obvious. Well, at least he knew how to stop attacking with the Genji. But regardless, very obvious cheating. Don't need to spend a whole lot of time on this one. In this match, we're going to be looking at two accounts that are throwing in order to D-rank. They make it really easy because they're using the same name. These are most likely going to be sold off as Smurfs. And we've seen this many times before. It's one player that is controlling multiple accounts. So as you can see right now, the soldier is being controlled and just going to run up and feed. And then immediately switches over to the Roadhog. And now going to control this one, run up and feed. Meanwhile, the soldier is not moving because it's just being alt-tabbed. It's not controlled. The Roadhog is then going to feed. Soldier takes over. And it's just going to keep going on and on and on and on like this for the rest of the match. So both of these accounts are throwing in order to D-rank and be sold as Smurfs. Both need to be banned. Thanks for watching, and if you'd like to be comment of the video, then leave yours, and while you're at it, ring the bell so you never miss a new video. Also, if you want to get some cool gear, join my Discord server, or follow me on social media, then check out the links down below. And remember, always, always blame the controller, because it's never your fault.